So I didn't want to do this. I just said I would overlook it and let it pass because, God came through for the person, but no, the me in me will not let this rest. So I heard this testimony on NSPPD today and it totally broke me completely. I felt so bad and at the same time annoyed with both the medical system and the players. A woman experiences a medical condition, goes to give birth. Her doctor was not in town, he was out of town, and she was left at the mercy of a drunk doctor. Like a drunk doctor on duty.
I was dilating quickly, things were happening in succession, and before I knew it, first and foremost, the doctor that I found on call was drunk. He was not initially the gynecologist that was supposed to deliver my children. The one we had made an appointment with had to fly out of town, and unfortunately we just had to make do with what was at our disposal at that time.
How can a doctor on duty be drunk? For Christ's sake, what kind of joke? Now, it's not only that this doctor was drunk, which is a serious case already. He goes on to conduct this operation to deliver this woman of her babies because she was carrying twins.
I was actually pregnant with twins, a boy and a girl.
There were complications based on negligence, and the woman starts bleeding profusely. Now, the doctor tries to arrest the situation but could not, and decided that the best line of action to do as at that time was to suture this woman, close her up, and take her to the ICU. To do what?
They removed the children properly, but then I don't know what they cut. I was given a story when I woke up that I had fibroids, but I don't know whether that was true or not because I never saw them. And I didn't even experience them during the checkups when I was going for antenatal and everything. So they cut a piece of my uterus, I think, and I began to bleed profusely. The water I felt like I was sleeping in was actually the loss of my own blood. So it was so heavy to the point that they had to do some transfusions. I think they put about 4 pints of blood. They couldn't stop the bleeding, so what they did was to just stitch me up and take me to ICU.
For her to stay there and cry, and they'll call it post-surgery complications.
Waiting for me to die, obviously, because there was nothing else they could do.
That is what I call wickedness, witchcraft, and barbarism. The woman says that while she was in the theater, while all the whole confusion was going on, now the anesthetic they gave her didn't really knock her out completely, so she could hear them and she could feel the pain. She could hear them having conversations in her dialect.
So when I went in for the C-section, under anesthetic, I first felt myself like I was sleeping in a pool of water. I didn't know that I'd lost so much blood. And in the process, I could hear the doctors and whoever was doing the surgery, they were talking. And I could hear in our dialect, one of our dialects, they were saying that I would be a problem to them. I just remember checking in and out of life. Long story short, I lost a lot of blood. They had to put about 4 pints of blood by the time I was coming out of that theater. I didn't come out conscious.
They were speaking amongst themselves. Obviously, everything was out of their control. They didn't know what to do. The bleeding was too much. She was going to cry because there was nothing they could do about it. She was sutured up and taken to the ICU with all the bleeding going on inside of her. Now, this is not even the painful part. You haven't even heard the main gist that would make you ask if this man, this doctor, is still working as a free man in the streets. Now, due to the complications, they had to take off her uterus. Yes, they removed her womb.
I had actually called the actual gynecologist who was supposed to deliver me. He's a specialist. And somehow God didn't give him peace. And so he had access to what was going on in the hospital. So he traced me, and just to be told what had happened to me, he had to awake his friend who was nearby, another senior consultant, gynecologist, to rush to the hospital. So I was wheeled into the theater for the second time, and this time I was fighting for my life. So a decision had to be made, and the decision that was made was to remove the uterus because now it was a matter of life and death.
They cut off her womb because one man that was not fit to be on call and should have stayed away from the walls of the hospital decided to conduct an operation on a pregnant woman. That's not all. That's not all. That's not all. Now, to put the icing on the evil cake that the devil was using this doctor to bake for that woman, the 2 babies died.
I remember those countless nights I would cry. I would cry myself to sleep. I didn't understand why I lost my uterus. And unfortunately for me, the first baby we lost, and the girl, she passed. So both the children didn't make it. They didn't. And guess what? I don't have a child.
So the woman was left with nothing. Now she came to that hospital with a womb and 2 babies, waiting to be delivered of those 2 babies. Her joy, waiting to be full. Family members, everybody everywhere, waiting to say, oh, you have put to bed. She left empty-handed.
I lost my children. I lost my uterus. And I was placed in a position where you are mocked, you are laughed at, you're ridiculed.
They removed her womb. Her twins died from postnatal complications. She was sutured up with internal bleeding, not arrested. She was taken to the ICU to meet her fate. I can't believe this, honestly. Now, this was a testimony on NSPPD. And obviously, what it means is that God came through for the woman. And by a creative miracle, after a frightening and forensic word of knowledge of cut-off womb being replaced by Pastor Jerry.
My God, my God, my God, you were pregnant with twins. You had a medical emergency. And they said the only way was to cut off your womb. And you don't even have a child. And you don't even have a child. And the twins did not survive. And your womb was cut off. Hear me as I hear the Lord. After this prayer, go and check. After this prayer, go and check. The Lord is restoring your womb. The Lord is restoring your womb right now. Creative miracle, let it happen in that womb.
She goes back to the hospital and they are saying that the uterus is doing well.
Then to hear this word of knowledge knocked me off. I took about 2 months. I had things that were going on because I'd been taking care of my mom. So I couldn't find time to go to the hospital until on the 3rd of this month. I went to the hospital and I insisted on having a scan. And guess what, Pastor Jerry? They did the scan and 3 times the doctor told me, there's nothing wrong with your uterus. There's nothing wrong with your ovaries. There's nothing wrong with your pelvic region. And I kept on asking. I asked him 3 times, are you sure my uterus is okay? Then he says, everything is normal. Your uterus is fine. Your uterus is fine. Everything is in place. And it's normal. They even wrote a report. I'll attach it.
She said she asked her doctor 3 times, you say my uterus is doing well? The doctor said yes. This is someone that cut off her uterus. Now I'm happy for her and also for the declaration Pastor Jerry made at the end of that testimony that God is going to give her multiple babies as a consolation for everything she has been through. But all this whole drama would have been avoided if one son of Adam just stayed away from the hospital because he was not fit to be on call. How can you be? Truth is, we cannot overemphasize the impact NSPPD has had on the lives of people. It's amazing to see what obedience of one man, what the obedience of one man is doing to the faith of the whole world. Sometimes I imagine, what if Pastor Jerry didn't speak the signal God was sending through COVID to start this mighty move of God that had become a global phenomenon? What if he stopped out of tiredness, out of distraction, out of exhaustion, or even out of criticism from people, or even anything? What would have happened to these thousands of persons that have carried their testimony by the sacrifice of one man? God is doing wonders through NSPPD daily. Every day we hear mind-blowing miracles that sound like lies. Honestly, the world is a better place with NSPPD.